Hello and welcome to the Modular DM, where I make everything from dungeons to taverns that can fit into any campaign or setting. I'll do all the hard work so that you busy or lazy DMs out there can have a little bit easier time getting ready for your next session. After a little bit of time away, we're coming back strong with a fan request. I got this request both on Reddit and in the comments of one of my videos, and frankly I am really excited to share what it became. They asked for my take on a wizard's tower, so let's go. On today's episode of the Modular DM, we're going all the way to the edge of the village, where a tall cobblestone tower stands silhouetted against the sunset. This friendly wizard's tower may have some interesting and possibly even dark secrets for us to uncover. This is Elsior's Tower. We're going to go ahead and get started with just the basic shape of the tower. Rather than doing something where each floor tapers or anything, we're just going to have every floor be the exact same shape, just a nice cylinder shape. And we're going to go ahead and put a huge sturdy marble table in the middle of this first room. You'll notice that there are two doors. The north door here is going to be the door to the outside, and the south door, well, it's going to be a door to all kinds of places. On this table, we're going to go ahead and put 5 different globes or orbs or crystal balls, whatever you want to use, and we're going to have them each be different colors. I think it's fun to have it be maybe filled with a gas of a certain color or something. It's going to be the first of several sort of funhousey ideas that go into this. It might be over the top if you don't like a lot of funky magic items in your D&D, but personally I love it. Depending on which of those orbs is lit up, it'll send you to a different floor. So the first 4 are going to go to the floors, and then the 5th orb is actually a lock, so it'll magically lock down the tower. In each case, whether you cast light or you focus a torchlight somehow, when the orb is lit up, it's selected. And when you open the door, it just goes straight to that floor. There's no other stairs or anything like that connecting the floors. If you don't have an orb selected, that door at the south end of the first floor just goes to cobblestone wall. The first orb, which I think at the end I have here in orange, is going to take us to the kitchen. In the kitchen, we have all the basic stuff. We have a table, a couple of chairs, that kind of stuff. We'll put in some shelves and crates to hold food goods and herbs and spices, everything you need in the kitchen. But what's really fun is going to be the stove and the sink. The stove, which here is on the north side of the tower, it's that box with 2 dots on top. And by stove, what I really mean is oven, actually. The oven is going to be a very small portal to the elemental plane of fire, just contained in a very sturdy metal box. So you throw anything inside that box, it's going to get heated up and cooked through fast. And I think this makes sense, because really, any established wizard is going to have all kinds of crazy stuff. They're going to have made ridiculously crazy friends. They're going to have magic items. They're going to have stuff you've never even heard of. They're going to have stuff you've never even thought of. So, of course, the kitchen appliances are literally going to be on a whole different level. Now, the sink, similar to the oven, is going to be just a wash basin with a small faucet coming up over it. In that faucet is yet another portal to an elemental plane. It's a very, very tiny portal to the elemental plane of water, and when uncovered, water just comes spraying out into the wash basin. Up next, the second orb is going to take us to the top floor of the tower, which is going to be the bedroom. Gotta have the bedroom on top because it's got the best views. Now, what immediately is going to catch the adventurer's eye when they enter this room is that the bed is going to be surrounded by this crazy 4-post bed frame of just twisted branches. In the canopy above the frame is going to be draped foliage, just these living leaves that are blowing in a breeze that you can't even feel in the room, swaying back and forth, making this really lush feel above the bed. This bed frame would have been a gift from a druid or something to the wizard here. Again, any established wizard is going to have some out there friends, and probably would have done a few favors too, and have a few weird gifts like this. So it's basically just flavor, but I think it's really cool. Next to the bed there on the left, we're going to have the wizard's chamber pot, because this is high fantasy. It's medieval times, they don't have bathrooms, but what they do have is magic. So that chamber pot is actually going to be a portal to an unknown plane. You can play with that if you want, maybe anger some multi-dimensional gods or something, because that chamber pot will transfer any non-living organic matter just to some plane. He doesn't know, nobody knows. That sounds like a plot hook right there. You don't even know. One last thing in the bedroom up there was a small chest next to the bed, and in that chest is going to be stitched a bag of holding. So the chest may only be 1-2 feet across, but it's going to have that bigger on the inside quality so that the wizard can keep almost all of his stuff in that. That's going to be it for the above ground levels, as well as a balcony coming off the side of the wizard's bedroom, of course, because the views. But now we're going to go ahead and move on to subterranean levels. The third orb is going to take you to the wizard's library. It's just going to be this ornate room. There's going to be this lush rug going down to the center of the room. In the center of the room, there's a huge desk with notes and books and all kinds of stuff out. And if the adventurers investigate further, they're going to find that the bookshelves on the wall are ornately carved and topped with these faces, you know, just sort of at the crown of the bookcase. And if the players try to interact with the bookcases, they'll find that these faces on top are actually animate. They're happy to help the players find books, they're happy to talk about the books, they've got personalities. Think sort of like Beauty and the Beast kind of stuff. I'm also going to say that each door in these different floors has a small dial next to it that has gems inlaid that match the colors of the first floor orbs, so that when leaving a room, one can twist the dial to select the correct color and transport to any other room in the tower. Note too that the chair down here is not just some normal chair, it's a big, lush, like throne writing chair type of thing. We're also going to add a couple braziers in the back, and I think they should be burning with a smokeless flame. Obviously this is a library, it's underground, there isn't ventilation, you don't want to die of all the smoke in there, and this guy's a wizard, so he can figure out smokeless fire just fine. And now that we're down here on the final floor, buried 2 stories under the ground, this is where things are going to get a little bit darker. I don't know if any of you noticed, but in that very first comment, which this entire video is based off of, the poster mentions that the wizard betrays their character, which means that despite all appearances of goodness, there's a little bit of evil going on. So down here, there's going to be a big magical circle, an arcane symbol just inscribed on the floor, probably glowing deep blue or something. We're going to have statues to just these undescribable, unknown deities in the corners. Well, I mean, if it's a round building, there are no corners, but we're on a grid, so in the corners. We're going to go ahead and put cages with all sorts of creatures in here, whether they're testing on these creatures or torturing these creatures or using these creatures to get some sort of items for their spells. You don't know. It could be anything crazy like that, but this would be sort of a hidden thing. So maybe the players need some sort of charm to use the orbs that get them down to this level or something. We're going to go ahead and add braziers here too, but instead of a normal firelight, they're going to be emitting just this crimson blood red flame. It's really going to be not the warm and inviting atmosphere of the library. This feels significantly more sinister. We'll add a couple chests with maybe sacrifices or items used for some sort of ritual in the back here. If you wanted to have some sort of boss fight with this wizard, I would say this is the place to do it. And on top of this arcane symbol, we're also going to add not a nice bench or a fancy table like in the kitchen or something. This is like a torn up, blood stained, it's got acid burns, it's got chunks out of it. It's that sort of table where clearly some pretty sketchy rituals are going on. So now we're going to go ahead and use custom lines to draw the connections from the different orbs to the floors. We're going to color code it. I'm just throwing colors out there. Use whatever you want. Don't even use colors if you don't want. I don't really care. That's just what came up into my head. So we've got some dark gray, like smoky looking stuff going on inside of one of the globes that'll take you to the dungeon. Like I mentioned before, I would have the characters need some sort of attuned magical item to get there. Then we've got the library, which we're going to use brown because books are made out of leather and leather is brown. And we're going up to the kitchen because I think one of the defining things about the kitchen is that first elemental portal. I think that's crazy. And then we've got green, of course, going up to upstairs because you've got the view of the nice countryside. Now we're going to go ahead and jump into writing some text, which means that we are going to talk about plot hooks. So I think obviously the very best one is the one that original poster brought up, and that is just that a character was raised or brought up or mentored or in some way had interactions where they trusted this wizard, and at some point maybe they discovered the secrets or something else. Maybe the wizard was just gonna sacrifice them in the end anyway or something. Something crazy happens, wizard betrays the player, and now we have tension, a cool place to drop into your world, and a villain, which is great. Alternatively, if you don't have the luxury of dropping this at the very beginning of your campaign, we could just show up into a village and the villagers are disappearing. The players will think that it's vampires because if you've got disappearing villagers, everybody always thinks that it's vampires for some reason. It's not vampires, it's a crazy wizard making sacrifices in the basement. So yeah, that is our Wizard's Tower. Really guys, I just appreciate you coming to watch. I feel like I'm coming back strong. I'm happy to be making content again. I would love more suggestions. It was really fun to have something to work on that I know somebody else wanted to see. So please leave comments, visit the subreddit and make a post, share something there. I'd love to hear your feedback on this too, as well, especially if you use it. I would love to hear how it goes. But really, just thanks for coming to watch. And if you happen to be a lazy DM or a busy DM or a new DM or anything along those lines where this is helpful, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be back on track. Putting out these videos ideally every week is what I'm going to shoot for, because I really like to feel like I can have an impact on this community. So please, if you like it, go ahead and subscribe, like the video, keep up to date. There'll be more super cool content coming soon. Also, one thing that I'd like to add before this video wraps up is just a huge thank you to Matt Colville. He is the inspiration that has brought this channel into existence. Specifically, he did a really similar video for new DMs where he created a dungeon, made a little adventure to go with it and everything, and I loved that. And I went looking for other content like that, and I just really couldn't find videos. There's plenty of dungeons online and everything, but I couldn't find a video. And watching it be created really helped me understand how I was going to run it. So I decided that I was going to make that content. So I really hope that it is as helpful to someone else as Matt's video was to me. That's all I could ever ask for. So really guys, go check out Matt Colville. I'm just about 1% of what he is. He is the best dungeon master resource out there. I'll go ahead and I'll link his channel in the comments as well. And yeah, if you end up over there, maybe drop a comment letting him know that this is where you came from. It would be really cool to get on his radar. So anyway, guys, one last time, this is Elsior's Tower. Thanks for stopping by.